Live from London, it's Plank of the Week with Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome to Plank of the Week. I'm Kevin O'Sullivan. I'm standing in for my good friend Mike Graham, and I've got a great panel for you this week. The stunning Chloe Dobbs, the remarkable Russell Quirk, the brilliant Steve N. Allen, and the incomparable Rafe Heydel-Mankoo. Well, let's get straight on with the show. And who have we got first? I believe it's you, Chloe, isn't it?
Well, it's got to be HMP Chelmsford, who accidentally released the Ethiopian migrant who sexually assaulted a 14-year-old girl in Epping, Hadush Kabatu.
Now a household name.
It was, I mean, we had the most hilarious manhunt ever where the guy wasn't even running. We were saying he was on the run, but this guy was at the prison for nearly 2 hours after they accidentally let him out. He was going back and asking the prison officers, can you help me? How do I get to the deportation centre? I'm meant to be being deported, and you've just let me out and let me free. And they just kept telling him to just go away.
Well, it sort of... It went kind of like this, that he was bemused and confused that they let him out, as you say. He went back to the prison 5 times, saying, you sure about this? And the guards went, yeah, off you go. Are you sure? You know, I thought I was doing a year inside, you know, and then off you go. When he went back, they were getting more and more irritated because a delivery driver saw the commotion. And when he went back for the 5th time, one of the guards went, oh, for God's sake, look, just get out of here. The station's down the road on the left. Go, get out of here. So
he wasn't so much on the run as being kind of on the meander.
He wasn't even running.
Around the southeast of England.
He's been on a shopping trip on the high street in Chelmsford.
But did you see what he was wearing?
He's gone on a trip to the library.
For the whole time, up until he was caught, apart from the day he was caught, he was in grey prison pyjamas, carrying a bag with a load of avocados printed on the side. You think it was hardly the greatest disguise ever conceived.
By the way, that footage that we've been watching of him coming up those stairs with the wood panelling, Emma Wolf, one of our correspondents, was on my show earlier in the week, and she knows that library. She was there at the weekend. And this is quite sinister. She said, what he's doing there, he's gone into Dalston Library and going up the stairs to the children's section. Make of that what you will. Not good.
I suppose if you were trying to capture him, those are the places you should check first. Do you know what I mean? Because all their plan was, they said that we're asking for him to hand himself in. If that was the best idea you had, do something else. Get some short police officers to dress up as a 13-year-old. Stuff like that, at least you stand a chance of catching him.
Exactly right. And Rafe, the police, amazingly, what happened was this guy gets accidentally let out, furiously directed to the station, makes his way to London, spends 3 days on the run, and on the Sunday morning was fortuitously spotted by 2 women walking by, said, that's that bloke Hadush Kabatu. So they rang the police, and the police went, oh, blimey, and they went down there, arrested him, and the rest is history, as it were. And the police issued this statement. I remember the guy's name, somebody called Commander James Conway, congratulating themselves on what a great job, a diligent police operation.
They said it was
fantastic.
a fast-paced manhunt. I'm sorry, this guy wasn't even hiding. He was chatting to members of the public. He was going shopping. He was going to the library. And when they put up that footage of him in the library to try and get members of the public to help them, they didn't even say this is Dalston Library. They said this is somewhere in Dalston. We've caught him on CCTV.
Exactly.
It was a terrible operation. Dalston.
It's now very posh, by the way, Dalston.
But Rafe, you know, lucky break for the police, and they hail themselves as heroes.
Yeah, it wasn't fast-paced. It was a farce. I think that's the difference between the two. But look, this just has unveiled exactly what's going on in our prisons. There have been about 260 people released without reason in the last year.
The last year,
it's doubled recently. And people always talk about the underfunding of our prison service, which is true. But this is a huge level of incompetence, and you can't hide behind funding cuts. There's nothing simpler than having someone's name, their photograph, date of birth, and their release date.
A green and a red light.
Yeah, it's like it's not a rocket science here.
Don't release
and
red.
too often the prison service like to blame other people, and these governors need to be
the guy went
changed.
back
The whole thing
5 times to check if they'd made a mistake. I mean, there's nothing that.
But it actually wasn't. It wasn't the only prisoner last week, apparently, that was released released in error.
Yeah.
It wasn't the only one.
It was
No,
just
well, it
because of the
happens.
high
Well, look,
profile
as Rafe just said, 262 prisoners around the country were released mistakenly over the past year. And when we all, diligent journalists that we are, put in phone calls to the Home Office, Justice Department to say, well, how many of these 262 prisoners you accidentally released were like Hadish Kabatu? How many of them were asylum seeker, migrant offenders? We're not telling you.
I know.
Again, make of that what you
Also,
will.
we-
If we didn't have the kind of failing system that we're letting 200 people out a year, imagine how full our prisons would be then. Because that's the other problem we've got. Prisons are too full. So thank heavens we've got some incompetence where this nation is crumbling.
Yeah.
It's taking the pressure
We've
off.
made enough space for the people who write mean things on Facebook.
Exactly.
It's like a little overflow right through the toilet. A little dripping.
valve.
And also the other thing, of course, is we now realise that he's at last been deported. I mean, that's happened this week. But
There is a chance he's been deported to probably Epic. I wouldn't be
two
surprised
things.
if that's
First of
where
all, we
he ended up.
paid him to go. I mean, the reports are that we paid between 500 and 2,000.
No, we gave him
to go.
Well, no,
Give him
he got
£500.
he's got a lot of money apparently. I wonder where that came from. So when he was released on that Friday, he was given all of his money, plus the regular 76 quid that all released prisoners are given, which he went and bought his train ticket with. But when he, the government said, it was really, what's her name, Shabana Mahmood, the Home Secretary, boasting about this. I've pulled every lever to get this done, proving that if you come to this country and you commit a crime, you will be removed. There's about, there's 12,000 foreign prisoners who've broken our laws, all of whom have not been removed. So that's a lie. But there was talk that Hadish Kabatu got this 2,000 quid that we often bribe migrants with
as
to
a
get them
golden
to go
goodbye.
out. But we're not sure about that. But what we do know, as Russell quite rightly says, is what he said apparently was in order to get on the plane, he said, I'm going to kick up merry hell unless you give me some money. So we did give him a special £500 payment not to cause a commotion in order to deport him back to Ethiopia. And by the way, it's very easy to deport people back to Ethiopia because we have a returns deal with them. If he didn't come from a country with a returns deal, trust me, he'd still be
But
here.
Kevin, what's the betting? Within the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, he's back through the revolving door that is Calais to Dover.
He actually said he wanted to be deported.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. Well, I'll tell you, I don't know about you, I'll tell you who my favourite politician is in the whole world. It's the Deputy Prime Minister and Justice Secretary, David Lammy. He's a great guy. He presided over this comical farce of the release of Kabatu. Here's his reaction in the House of Commons.
On Wednesday, well, look, they may be laughing, but let me finish this point.
Do you know why he was laughing? Because Robert Jenrick just called him Calamity Lammy, which is quite funny. He then completely lost his temper. And guess who? Apparently, guess whose fault it was that Hadish Kabatu was released by mistake? It was the previous Tory government. It's always them, isn't it? Shall we move on to our next potential plank of the week? And the nominator of this poor sap is Russell Quirk.
So this is an old favourite, the BBC. It'll be very, very familiar to you all in terms of nominations on this wonderful programme. But for another new reason this week, and that is this. You remember the Supreme Court ruling a few months ago with regard to this whole sticky and very complicated subject of what a man and a woman are? I mean, you can see what that would fox people, can't you? What is a man? What is a woman? The Supreme Court, in a rare slither of wisdom, decided that actually it's about biology, it's about sex. So if you're born a man, you're a man no matter what. If you're born a woman, you're a woman no matter what. I mean, who knew?
Talk me through that again.
Who
I'm sorry,
knew?
I'm confused.
So, man, all right. Anyway, but the
If
BBC...
you're born a man, you're a man. By the way,
I mean, it's
if
a
you're born
revelation.
Man, you're
It's
a
a
man. If you're
revelation.
born a woman, you're a woman. It took the Supreme Court, the collection of the greatest legal minds in this country, 5 years to decide that. Unbelievable.
However, Kevin O'Sullivan, I'm afraid the BBC did not get the memo.
Of course they didn't. Nor did the NHS, by the way.
No. And so they have continued with their policy, which is, look, if you're a man and you decide one day you want to put some lippy on and a wig and you want to go into a woman's changing room or toilet, at the BBC across their huge estate, London, Manchester, Salford or whatever, you are still permitted to. So, and their excuse is that they're still waiting for further guidance from the government as to what a man is and what a woman are. Well, I think we've had that, as I say, from the Supreme Court. And anyway, here's the meat.
I love this bit.
No pun. Here's the meat of the story, which is... So what I did there? Which is that the BBC have said to their staff, if you're offended by this, in other words, if you're a woman that doesn't really want to get undressed in front of a man in a wig, you can simply work at home for the foreseeable future.
If you're worried about if you work at the BBC,
jangly bits in
and you're worried about the BBC, let's put this straight, breaking the law with their lavatory policy, it's now illegal not to provide safe private spaces for women and indeed men, which the BBC has chosen not to do. If you're a BBC employee and you don't like that, as Russell says, you can work from home.
I mean, most of them probably are anyway. Most of them are at home anyway, I dare
What if it's
say.
the camera operator working from home?
Well,
or a newsreader.
Say some of the presenters, that'd be a great thing.
By the way, we're talking now, I'm going off piece slightly, but talking about the BBC. We're talking now just after that huge Hurricane Melissa, isn't it, hit Jamaica. Right, so I was watching the BBC News. I don't know why. I subjected myself to this torture.
Balance.
And it goes to the BBC reporter. He's a black guy, but obviously of British heritage. So he's standing there. This is how his report went. I can feel the anxiety rising within me, deep in my DNA, because this is the land of my fathers, and I can actually feel the tension. It's actually palpable within me. It's like, are you going to report on what's happening?
Hang on, where was he? Salford?
No, he was at home. He was working from home.
In his garden.
No, so
He needs to use the loo.
Then it switches to they found a lady holidaymaker, a British holidaymaker, who's trapped in a hotel. And they've got her to sort of start talking about her ordeal. And she's a remarkable reporter who starts saying that the island here is in a state of tension and we can see trees coming down, buildings coming down, people are worried, the hospital, the ambulance. She was a brilliant reporter. The BBC's actual reporter was a pile of crap. It's unbelievable.
Well, speaking of crap, can we get back to the lavatories?
Yes.
Because I think the solution to this is so simple, you know. I mean, the trans population in this country is less than 0.5%, 0.5%. So why don't you just reclassify all disabled loos as disabled/trans loos? They have their own private loos to go to. The BBC has lots of them already. I don't see why this is such a big kerfuffle.
Because a lot of these men in frocks really want to be in a room full of women.
Well, they can't get everything they want to. I mean, you can provide for them and for...
Including a gender.
I know, it is quite a simple solution.
Planet BBC is is alien to normal people.
Speaking of the BBC, we found out this week that an Afghan was arrested on suspicion of murder and attempted murder after this horrible triple stabbing where a dog walker died in Hillingdon. And interestingly, if you went on the BBC website, this story was just like down in a corner at the bottom. Every other website where they don't live in a woke bubble where they think immigration is the best thing in the world, of course, had this up at the top. But it was just classic BBC.
It's extraordinary. Anyway, we better move on. It is Steve N. Allen on Magic Grandpa Jeremy Corbyn. He's in a panto. Oh, yes, he is. Yeah. What have you got, Steve?
I would think Jeremy Corbyn should win more often. I regularly watch this. I'm sat at home thinking, surely he should win Plank of the Week more often. But then again, being nominated and not quite winning, he's got form on that, hasn't he?
He's won a few times.
He's won a few times, but not as many as he should. But
yeah,
yes, he's appearing in what's described as a drag panto. He's not in drag. I should say that just for the safety of viewers.
There he is, by the way. There he is.
You don't need to look away from the screen now. That's where he's dressed in some sort of emerald outfit. In that he plays the wizard. It's the Wizard of Oz, but he's the Wizard of Oslington.
Yeah, because he comes from Islington.
Isn't he the Wizard of Odd?
The Wizard of Oddlington. Yeah, that's exactly what it should be.
Oddlington.
And so that's what he's doing for Christmas. We don't know what he's doing for Hanukkah, probably protest. But he's
going over to see his mates from Hamas, no doubt. Yeah, here he is. Here's Jezza. In his good God Almighty.
I mean, this has the feel of someone who's jumped the shark career-wise.
Hang on, this is not AI. This is real.
That was absolutely real. That's what he's doing.
It's at the Pleasance Theatre in Islington.
So he's actually been played.
And yes, he's going to play the Wizard of Oslington. X-rated Christmas Panto.
Well, there's
it's
two
for
versions.
adults only.
There's a PG
for
version.
adults.
The adult one where he'll be doing sex jokes. So go along if you want to be put off sex forever.
Yeah.
That could cure you, couldn't it? Him doing one of those
Sex
jokes.
and Jeremy Corbyn. I never thought I'd see those words in the same sentence.
Well, I'm just surprised that, given how many of his closest friends are transphobes and homophobes, that he wants to be seen in a trans panto. But then again, you know, Wizard of Oz was all about a charlatan who had a cult of personality, nothing else about him. So perhaps it's very appropriate.
Yes.
I wonder, given that Jeremy Corbyn is starring in this pantomime, whether any Jewish people will be allowed into the audience. It's unlikely, isn't it? Let's face it.
I'm
Might
so
have a few people from Hamas
surprised
there.
that he got the job, because in the arts industry they're always box ticking. You have to all be you know, you've got to be trans, you've got to be gay, you've got to be a person of colour. Or if you're a white man, it's quite hard to get.
You've got to be non-Jewish.
Yeah, it's quite hard to get a job.
Yeah, and Jeremy Corbyn, though, at the moment, I've changed my attitude towards him. I've never been a fan. You'll be surprised to hear. But
seems quite
I'm with
sane
him all the
compared
way
to
at the
Zara
moment.
Sultana.
Him and Zara Sultana,
Yeah.
his weird little sidekick, they formed Your Party. Not my party, I'll tell you. But Your Party genuinely is going to cause Labour a lot of problems, because all the lefties in the Labour Party are gravitating to their spiritual hero, the mad veteran lefty Jeremy Corbyn. They're getting big numbers. They're going to do electoral damage to Labour. So you won't hear me say this very often, but go Jeremy, all the best, mate.
And there's so much so that Reform have even offered them advice, saying if you want help starting a grassroots party, we'll help you out, because we know you'll take away, you'll split up the vote on the left.
Split the vote. Happy days.
Happy days. Rafe, you've got the Met Police.
Yes, so last week we had a rare good news story where we heard that the Met Police were not going to investigate non-crime hate incidents. And many of us thought maybe this is the beginning of the end of woke in the police. Well, that didn't last long. It's come crashing down with news that the cash-strapped Met Police are going to splurge 5.2 million quid on hiring diversity officers for their cultural and diversity unit. Just that unit. They're also
64
hiring
of them.
others in other departments as well. 64 people, some earning 50 grand a year. And they're going to be endorsing and celebrating things like Pan Awareness Week, National Pronoun Day,
National Pronoun Day,
World Hijab Day, which is encouraging and promoting Islamic headgear, and amazingly, National Tsunami Week, which, of course, is a very pressing issue for everybody living in the Thames Valley.
Here.
And, of course, it comes at the same time that we've had record funding cuts now coming. The beloved mounted police in London are going to be cut. The Royal Parks Police, forensics is being cut. Investigations into historic crime. It's a complete nonsense. And they can't keep saying we're strapped for cash if they're going to be funding these absolutely ludicrous issues.
As you say, Rafe, £5 million a year. This is a 64-strong woke task force who will be there to enforce this woke calendar. And as you also quite rightly say, this is for a police force that constantly said, we haven't got enough money. Oh, but you know, we haven't got a shortage of officers because we haven't got enough money to hire more officers. Here's an idea. Get rid of the woke squadron. How about that? Ridiculous.
They should also point out that pan awareness, it does sound like it's not what I think it is, it? Like, they're flogging
Well, it's a celebration.
cookware.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Tefal.
I've got a frying pan here. Are you aware of it? Anyway, we've got some footage, actually, of this police woke task force in action.
I would like to apologise to Scotland's blind community. I hear your concerns, and I promise you they will not fall on deaf ears. I would like to apologise to the deaf community. I would like to say sorry. When I realised what I'd said, I had a fit. I apologise unreservedly to all of the epileptics in Scotland for my use of the word fit. I completely understand why you've got a bee in your bonnet. I would like to apologise to anyone connected with bees or the wider bee community. Bees, indeed, are a vital part of society.
That is genuine footage. That's where we're heading, folk. Let's go to break. Welcome back to Plank of the Week. I'm in for my friend Mike Graham, and this is part 2, and it begins with the best bit of the show, really, because it's me, it's my turn. And I'm going to nominate the Home Office staff, bunch of lazy, useless work-from-home know-nothings. Now, they were already, in my view, wasting around about, apparently, £4.5 billion on migrant hotels. That's £4.5 billion going forward for the next 10 years. Turns out that because of their hopeless incompetence and because private contractors have run rings round them, that this £4.5 million has gone up to £15 billion. And it's purely because these civil servants, most of them never been anywhere near the private sector. Along comes these sharks from companies like Serco and God knows what, you know, dreadful people, but they know their way around a contract. They've just absolutely bamboozled our civil servants, and it's costing us, taxpayers, billions and billions of pounds purely because they're so incompetent they can't see their way through a contract. Yep. It's ridiculous.
And there are certain hotels in London, like the Britannia Hotel at Canary Wharf. If you actually go on to booking.com, for instance, and try and book one of those rooms for a year and a half, even 2 years hence, you can't. Why? Because Serco have taken a contract with those hotels pretty much infinitum to have them at a cost of, I think the average is about £119 per room per night.
No, it's £143 per asylum seeker per night all over the country. Bearing in mind we've got 32,000 asylum seekers in asylum
hence the cost. But the other thing, of course, we also know, because it gets sporadically leaked here and there, that the government via Serco have done deals as long as 5 years in tenure on some of these hotels. So, I mean, is it just me that thinks if the government really want to rid us of this problem in terms of migrants per se illegally being here and in our hotels, and I think literally this week Keir Starmer said, my intention is absolutely to get people out of these hotels and into, I don't know, military camps and so on. What do we do about the fact that we are now contractually obligated as the taxpayer to pay for these hotels for the next 5 years?
I'll tell you what we do, we carry on paying, and there was a prediction this week that there's no chance of us getting anywhere near solving our migrant crisis for at least 10 years. So this is going to go on and on and on.
This is interesting. We'll be paying for the empty hotel rooms whilst putting the migrants in these army barracks. So it's a good job that we don't have an army left, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
if it wasn't for this nation crumbling and not having a big enough army, we wouldn't have the space.
All falls into place, doesn't it?
But you know, we have more illegal migrants here now than the size of our army.
Yes.
That's great, isn't it? What could go wrong?
So just put it in context, it's 1.4 billion was what they were hoping to save from cutting the winter fuel allowance. You could heat all of our pensioners' homes with, you know, less than the money we're spending on young, fit men of fighting age.
Yeah. Incoherence doesn't even come into it.
And also, what these hotel owners say is that it's not like they bargained for all of this money from the Home Office. The Home Office are coming to them and offering them way more money than they would ever possibly make in a good season.
That's because many of them are rural hotels with very low occupancy. Serco and these private companies contracted by the government,
and the hotel is full
turn
year
up
round.
and they say, you know, most of your rooms are empty most of the years and you struggle to get by. Well, we're going to give you for the next year £5 million full occupancy, and they just go, yeah.
We've had enough of everybody in this community being put second, being put last. My child has to decide whether she has a bottle of water and something to eat at first break or second break. They're getting 4-star treatment while our soldiers are sleeping homeless.
Right, what do we got next? It's you, Chloe, and the Foreign Office. A lot of government departments getting it in the ear in this show.
Well, they love splashing cash, don't they?
Yeah.
The Foreign Office have spent 88 million quid on promoting the use of condoms in Pakistan. So I thought initially that they'd actually given them a huge number of condoms and splashed their cash on 88 million quid worth of condoms.
Them.
But it's actually more of a waste of money than that, because 74 of this 88 million is just being spent on promoting the selling of condoms in shops. And then I think there's another 30 million spent on, I don't know, just...
Well, like I don't want to contradict you or indeed the producer. It's 111 million.
So 111 million is the whole cost of the full plan, which is promoting family planning in Pakistan. I don't know what else it involves. Maybe they go and give PowerPoint presentations to people in Pakistan about how to use contraceptives.
The point being that I'm sure that family planning in Pakistan is a very important issue in Pakistan. Why British taxpayers are expected to fund condoms to Pakistan is beyond me.
So the discrepancy money-wise, that extra couple of million will be for the bananas and cucumbers.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
The thing is, Rafe, that the Secretary of State for International Development, the person in charge of foreign aid, is the only person in government who has to go to various committees and explain why he or she has not spent enough money. They have to spend a certain amount, and if they don't, they're in trouble. That's why they end up paying for condoms in Pakistan, my favourite Tanzania, juggling and dancing lessons, the Spice Girls in Ethiopia, they're called the Enza Girls, you know about them, wouldn't you? Do you know how much we gave them? The Spice Girls in Ethiopia to develop their pop career. They're called the Enza Girls. 16 million quid. You know, this is insane.
Pakistan's one of the world's 9 nuclear powers, and call me old-fashioned.
Yes!
I think there should be a rule: if you have nuclear weapons, you don't get condoms. I think that should be a nice fair deal, right?
Also, if you're not taking back the foreign criminals that we want you to take back, you don't get any money for condoms or anything else, or any visas for that matter. It's bonkers.
My favourite piece of foreign aid a few years back, as I say, I like the Spice Girls. I like juggling and dancing lessons for Tanzanians. But my favourite is we gave a few million quid and sent a team of experts to China. I'm not making this up, to teach them how to grow rice. It's true.
Yeah. Calls to Newcastle, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly right.
I think we also gave China some money to help them learn about democracy. Well, I've got news for you. I don't think they're very interested.
No.
Actually, I don't think that's a thing over there.
We've got Rachel Reeves going cap in hand, begging, like, oh, have you got any change? Can we squeeze any money out of you here and there? I mean, the latest thing is what they're going to stop people, they're going to massively hike up the taxes on people betting on horses and whatnot, anywhere they possibly can, because they say we simply cannot cut any spending anywhere else. But, I mean, you've just listed it out, Kevin.
Here's the deal, though. You know, we have got old Rachel from Accounts, the world's worst chancellor, having killed the economy stone dead with her last budget from hell, which has necessitated the upcoming budget from hell in November. You know, she said, "Oh, you don't. I've got, you know, the unforeseen circumstances, international forces. You know, forces. I don't have any choice. I've got to pay for these vital public services. Blah blah blah." And then we find out the reason she's going to tax the backsides of us is to send 111 million quid's worth of condoms to bloody Pakistan.
Well, look, India and China both have larger economies than us now, so why aren't we asking for foreign aid from them, actually? I think we're probably more in need of it.
Yeah, but why do we... as you said, you know, Pakistan's a nuclear power. We send a lot of foreign aid to India. It's got its own space programme. I mean, you know, it's a better space programme than us, and we're sending them foreign aid. I think a great message to the people of this country by a government would be say, tell you what, we're not going to send any taxpayers' money abroad anymore. We're going to spend it on you. What do you think, Russell?
Well, foreign aid is about £8 billion a year. And, of course, then there's the other £11 billion that the government, when they were first put in charge back in July 2024, another 11 billion that is going to go towards educating other countries about the climate crisis. That climate crisis that doesn't exist, by the way. So that's £19 billion of our money completely and utterly wasted on other countries. Would it do anything in terms of assisting us? Absolutely not.
I suppose you wouldn't call condoms soft power.
You wouldn't be able to use them in that instance.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, it depends how well things are going for the guy, I guess. You know. Well said, Russell, and it's you next.
It is another government department, I'm afraid. As you say, there is a theme emerging here, isn't there? So this is the NHS. And the reason being, you'll recall that there are 7 nurses suing the NHS, again, in line with what I was talking about earlier.
This is the Doncaster nurse.
Doncaster, yes. Yeah. So,
fine women. I've had them on my show.
Yeah. So they, understandably, are rather perturbed about getting undressed in front of, again, back to my first nomination, men in wigs. And they say that this is rather disturbing and not right. And, of course, the Supreme Court, as we said earlier on, totally agree. So they've complained and are now taking legal action on the basis of this being sexual discrimination and so on. The NHS's response is to send them away on a course, and the name of that course, the theme is, believe this or not, kindness training.
Oh.
So you're not kind enough to these people, these men with lipstick and wigs that are in your changing rooms, displaying their floppy bits to you without your consent. Because you've complained about that, how dare you?
But they're not going. They're not going.
They're absolutely not going.
But here's the worst thing, all right? There's another element to that. I know these girls.
But there's a cost to this.
I know these ladies. The thing that they're really furious about is when they first put in the complaint, there was a guy, right? This is about a guy who was going in there with boxer shorts, apparently holes everywhere. You know, his crown jewels available
on display.
And one particular nurse got very traumatised because he's parading himself. She's sitting there in the women's changing rooms and he's going, "You're going to get undressed or not?" Kept saying it to her, Anyway, they complained. We know the rest is history. They've launched this legal action against the NHS, action that I think they're going to win.
Well, it's harassment.
And they were first told, not only, you are going to have to go to lessons given by this guy pretending to be a woman. He's going to put your mind straight. He's going to challenge your views. So they were absolutely furious with this. And Doncaster National Health Trust I've got a few questions to answer, I would suggest.
But not only, there's the woke ideology here, this warped situation that these nurses and others across the country find themselves in. Again, despite what's morally right, despite the fact that there's been legal precedent now set. But what about the cost? I mean, presumably someone is going to be paying, or we're going to be paying through the NHS for this ridiculous kindness.
But you
how to be kind, Steve. Be nice.
No one's ever taught me.
So if I show you my bits, just, I was going to say,
suck
suck it up.
That's not the wrong phrase. That's not kind. That's a kind of cruelty.
We're lucky they're not working from home, though, aren't we? Because, I mean, they're nurses. I'm amazed they're not being told to just work from home and just call in I would be giving you the kiss of life right now, but sorry, I can't be there. I'm working from home. Bye.
I'm going to DHL you this injection.
Yeah.
The thing about the whole working from home scourge, which is one of the great problems of this country, in particular Britain, is, of course it's made the country worse. Of course it's ruining companies. And of course it's bad for the economy. All these lefties always go, working from home has been proved to be far more efficient. Absolute rubbish. Absolute. If the cat's away, the mice will play. The boss has to be there. Otherwise, you'll find that the employees will sit at home watching Netflix and going to the pub. But working from home, my favourite working from home people are air traffic controllers. I mean, am I missing something here? Or is that not a good idea?
Probably not.
Let's go to break. More planks when we come back. Welcome back, part 3 of this edition of Plank. Don't forget, as always, got to stress, I'm standing in for my old friend Mike Graham. I've known Mike for more decades than I care to admit. But let's move on to the next plank, and it is your turn, Steve N. Allen.
Anne Frank. I'm not nominating Anne Frank. I should point that out.
Why not?
That would be a bit harsh, a bit full on.
Always moaning.
There's an Anne Frank musical.
It wasn't her fault.
It wasn't her fault, yeah. Let's not bring her into this. Which actually would be the entire point here. In New York, there's a musical that's portraying Anne Frank as a Latina pansexual. And again, we should point out what pansexual means. It's nothing to do with cookware.
Slam Frank.
It's called Slam Frank. And pansexual is someone who finds anyone attractive. I don't think she met enough people to know she finds everyone attractive. I mean, you really should be more of the darling of the introvert than anything else. But this musical wants to make it more inclusive as a story. So in this, it's very much celebrating the LGBTQ community, which I don't think is a good fit, because if anyone's not playing Diana Ross, I'm Coming Out, it's Anne Frank.
But also... she's up in the attic, right?
Don't spoil the ending.
And with her family, as I seem to recall.
Yep.
How did she manage to squeeze in an affair with a non-binary lover? Was it her sister or something?
Well, it's difficult to tell from this angle, from non-binary.
I mean, I'm just wondering what the storyline of this...
I'm sorry, but whoever wrote the script for this and came up with this idea must have been on drugs or something.
But that graphic just now...
I can't get my head around...
That graphic just now, wasn't it Anne Frank on DJ decks? Can I just suggest if she was on DJ decks in the attic, that gave the game away to the Nazis.
I thought I said Islam Frank.
Yeah, she was trying to be quiet, not DJ.
That's why she's got the headphones on. That's why the headphones are in.
Yeah, I'm surprised she hasn't got a hijab on. Right, let's watch a clip. We've got a clip from Slam Frank.
I am non-binary.
Peter, this is incredible. A life lived in secret is so problematic.
My tears pour as if from a faucet. So while we're still stuck in this attic, you've got to come out of the closet.
Got to come out of the attic, isn't that the line? I mean, unbelievable. But that's in New York, and as they say, only in America. But you can't really say that because that is perfectly possible to happen here in mad woke Britain.
So Steve,
and probably will fairly soon.
Steve, you booked tickets?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you can't get tickets. The darn thing's sold out. That's the annoying thing about this as well.
You're kidding?
I'm not kidding. Because of all the controversy, the hype, this is all you need to get talked about.
Should we go?
I think it's in very bad taste, but, you know, and I loved Book of Mormon. This is in very bad taste. But it trivialises something that's so important to so many millions of people.
Yeah, good
And the
point.
thing is, this is the Be Kind Brigade, who are so conscious about being sensitive to people, and you could never imagine them doing this about George Floyd, could you? And of course, George Floyd is such a meaningless character compared to the Anne Frank legend that surrounded her, and that's what really gets me about this, is the hypocrisy behind this.
And let's not forget that this is an historical story. This is a true story. And they're just changing the story, changing history.
Yeah, I mean,
this is a syndrome that I find really worrying and disturbing, that you have a generation of lefties now, most of them working at the BBC or Channel 4, who are creating history, changing history, not to depict the accurate picture, but to depict history as they wanted it to be, as they want it to be.
Well, I mean, speaking of the BBC, I was just going to bring up, this is the same story as if you go on the BBC, if you look up on the BBC website, there is an article that they've written about how period dramas are so problematic and they don't know whether they should make them anymore because it's just so awful that if you portray it historically correctly, it's going to be all full of white people. And then they're saying, oh, well, should we do the period drama but make sure that there are lots of black actors in it, even if that is historically incorrect because it's a time in the country when most people here
it
were
reminds
white.
us, doesn't it?
I'm like, why does it matter?
It reminds us
does it matter?
when Disney decided to re-release Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but none of the dwarves were dwarves. They were all about 6 foot.
Snow White wasn't white.
Snow White couldn't be white.
And that, because, of course, it would be offensive to smaller people.
But you have now got Louis Theroux.
Yes, the smarmy Louis Theroux has had a bit of a comeuppance when British Airways has thankfully pulled its funding for his podcast after he invited the vile anti-Semitic cretin Bob Vylan of Glastonbury infamy, saying death to the IDF, onto his show. Gave him softball questions, never challenged him, even when he came out with outrageous conspiracies such as that the IDF had trained American police forces in how to use racist tactics to kill black and brown people. No challenge on that. And then when he spoke about white supremacy, Louis Theroux supported him and talked about Zionist exceptionalism being role models for white supremacy around the world. And of course, he's the archetypal left-wing anti-Israeli lovey. His wife is a virulent anti-Israel campaigner as well. And it just goes to show you how deep this rot has set in.
Yeah, and good for British Airways. And I think what needs to be pointed out from this is Louis Theroux is finding out to his cost that it is not acceptable in a civilised society to make money out of anti-Semitism. And that is what effectively Louis Theroux did when he interviewed Bob Vylan, you know, the Glastonbury death to the IDF lot. It's actually a sort of duo. They're absolutely dreadful, by the way. And the singer, the rapper, he's not actually called Bob Vylan or anything. His name is Pascal Robinson Foster. Crazy name, crazy guy. Brought up on the mean streets of Ipswich.
Guildford.
And the
Ipswich
is worse than Guildford.
It sounds like a law in physics, doesn't it? The Pascal Robinson Foster law.
Honestly, cutting edge hero. Anyway, here is a clip from Louis Theroux making money out of anti-Semitism by interviewing one half of Bob Vylan, Pascal Robinson Foster. Take it away, Louis.
Do you stand by the chant, and would you chant that on stage now?
Oh, yeah. Like what? If I was to go on Glastonbury again tomorrow, yeah, I would do it again. I'm not regretful of it. I'm not regretful of it. I do it again tomorrow, twice on Sundays.
Wow, that was poignant, wasn't it?
If he does it tomorrow, there's
I'm
no one in
not
that field.
regretful of it, innit? I'll do it again, innit?
Sounds like he's half asleep. Also, after that, you know what he said? He said that when he did that, that the BBC staff were actually sort of cheering him on, saying how great it was. No wonder they didn't cut the feed. It sounds like the BBC staff were lapping it up.
I don't believe that for a minute. Those staff were at home. How could he see whether they were cheering or not?
But can I just indulge my naivety just for a second? On the basis that he's not just said what he said around the IDF and so on, death to the IDF, and now he's said that he would double down on that given the opportunity again. What's the difference between that and what Lucy Connolly said by way of a tweet where she effectively, stupidly seemed to support the very action of burning down a mosque, but obviously didn't really mean that, we know that. What's the difference in terms of the offence that she committed and did 31, well, was given 31 months for, versus what he is saying over and over again, that he wishes violence and death on the Israeli people?
Which is inciting violence, which is a crime. So we need to ask the question, A, why wasn't he prosecuted for inciting violence at Glastonbury, shouting death, death to the IDF, which is basically calling for Jewish people to be murdered, and he's just repeated the crime. Yeah. How many more times is this guy going to be allowed to get away with it?
And he did a similar thing on stage, celebrating Charlie Kirk's death.
Yes.
Which I thought was disgusting, joking around, saying, pronouns, were, and all sorts of horrible swearing
Anyway,
things.
now I've heard him speak, old Pascal, he's a moron, isn't he? What a moron. And as for Louis Theroux, shame on you.
It would be okay if he'd challenged him properly and he pushed back.
Well, he wanted him on to talk about, and our...
Well, remember, Louis Theroux has made 2 documentaries about how terrible the Israelis are. You know, he loves to embed himself with troubled people and groups. Yeah. He's never once gone to the Houthis or to Hamas and embedded himself with them, because he knows after a few of his pointed questions he would be strung up.
And on that bombshell, let's go to break. Welcome back. This is the final section of this week's Plank of the Week. As always, I've got to stress I'm standing in for my good old friend Mike Graham. Let's continue, though. Seems to be my turn. Right, it's Meghan Markle. Hey! Of course, it's Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, the pretend royal who married old ginger nuts Prince Harry. Anyway, she's got this she's got this online store called As Ever that basically attempts to flog suckers, gullible people, mundane domestic products for astronomical prices. You know, pretend jam for $14, anyone? Honey, $28 a jar? I don't think so. Anyway, she's got a Christmas range coming out, and there it is. It's candles. It's candles. And these candles, you get 2 types. I'll tell you about them in just a second. But just as a prelude to me explaining just how wonderful these products are, candles, 2 different. They're $64 each. That's more than 50 quid.
Wow.
$64. You know, who the hell is going to pay that much for those? But let me explain to you what they are. Candle number 1 is Signature Candle. It's called Signature Candle number 519. And in case you know what you think, well, what were the other 518? But no, this is a reference to their wedding day. That was May the 19th. In 2018, when she married Britain's second worst prince, Harry. Amazingly, not the worst. That would be Prince Andrew. By the way, they were close. Fergie and Andy, they nearly got nominated. We'll save them for next week. Do you know what? I think it has to be Chloe's Chelmsford Prison.
Yes,
and by extension, the Justice Department, and by extension, the governor of that.
And the police who did the worst manhunt ever.
The governor should get fired. The Justice Secretary, David Lammy, should get fired. The prison minister, James Timpson should get fired. Instead, what have we got so far? Nobody ever gets a blame in this country. Nobody gets punished. One prison officer has been suspended. So the winner, or should we say loser, this week's plank of the week is Chelmsford Prison. There you go. And on that bombshell, thank you very much to this excellent panel, the brilliant Chloe Dobbs, Russell Quirk, Steve N. Allen and Rafe. Heydel-Mankoo. Thank you all so much. I've been Kevin O'Sullivan. You've been a great audience. This show, Plank of the Week, will be back next week. You better be there.